Boom, boom.
Welcome. How are
Man,
you doing now?
uh, that's what Patsy looks like after we ride a roller coaster at the carnival or the fair. Poor baby Yoda. That wasn't Mayor Kim. Mayor Kim is the sensei. He's the old
Yeah.
Yoda. This is baby Yoda. I don't even know this guy's name. Somebody say Grogu. But he looks like he's gonna throw up pretty soon, at any moment. I hope you guys enjoyed that beginning. I hope you guys. Charlie, that was a special request from Charlie, and why not? What the heck? What's
You
up,
see,
Charles? Welcome back, bro.
thank you, brother. What I get from that is the sense knowing that I, just watching it, I felt like I climbed the 100 stairs to the top to go, Adrian,
Yeah,
Adrian.
that music, bro. That music, exactly, man. I feel like I wanna go out and run 5 miles right now.
Okay, you run 5 miles, I'll watch you from the car.
No, I said I feel like I want
Oh,
to.
you feel like okay.
The body just said, say it's stupid. Shut up. You're not running those 5 miles. Anyway, Charlie, we missed you last night. We
I
really
miss you
did.
too.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many people came on and said, "Where's Charlie?" I said, "Charlie's working," and they left the show. They left the show. So whatever.
Yeah, was one of was when you get into that when duty calls, I guess. I do want to say thank you everybody out there. It's been when as you get older, you retire and you pick something up small just to occupy your time. I didn't know that this was considered small at what I'm doing now. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. Whew,
Well, we
it's
appreciate we appreciate what you're doing down there, keeping us safe. That's the main thing. That's your calling, man. That's just your DNA, and we appreciate you.
thank you. Thank you.
Hey guys, tonight we're gonna try something tonight. I don't know how long this is gonna last because I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. I registered for the Zoom meeting for that town hall or talk story with the state, the county legislators from Oahu, and the Department of Health. They're gonna talk about COVID and the vaccine and all of these things. We talked about last night. We talked about the newspaper article. Remember, we questioned the newspaper article about the flu and influenza deaths surpassing COVID. Well, today, obviously, the UH epidemiologist Kimball came out and said that we have had one flu related, influenza related death. So that article was completely wrong. It stirred the pot. It stirred the caca, and
Oh,
we're calling. Dr. Dworkin came out first. I shared his post. We're calling for the Star Advertiser to make a correction on the front page because that was wrong. That was irresponsible, and it's just
oh.
what's going on.
There
Are we
you go.
back on? I've
Yep.
been having internet issues all day. I pay more money now for my internet to get the higher speed, and I was on my phone today on the internet and it kept going off. I don't know what the heck is going on and I'm pissed off. But anyway, so anyway, guys, um, we're gonna go ahead and try to get that shared. If not, you get me and Charlie. But I think it's gonna work. We've done this before, not with somebody else's talk story. So we're gonna go ahead as soon as somebody's saying we're frozen.
No, that was
Uh, okay.
just for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing myself on my monitors on my phone, so that's we should be okay. I don't know what
Yeah.
the heck is going on. Now,
No, we're
Charlie,
good.
You're
We're good.
frozen, Charlie.
Hello, 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 hello,
Yeah,
hello.
yeah, we're frozen on the. No, we're not frozen on the. We're frozen
No,
on this screen. Okay, good, good, good. Everybody's saying we're good. So I don't know why you're on my screen, Charlie. You're frozen.
hello.
Not sure why, but you're not frozen on the live, so we're okay. It's just that for some reason you and me on the monitor side,
Yeah.
but I can see you on the phone. So all right, guys. So that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna start at 7. So we'll break away at 7. I'll go ahead and share the screen, and and pray that it works. I'm curious to hear what the Department of Health has to say. I'm curious to hear what Senator Mercado Kim looks like. It's she put this thing together. So, hey Charlie, can you? Oh, man, it's like it's kind of bizarre because it really doesn't matter because it's showing me as being full. Whatever. It's working, so I'm not gonna mess with it. I'm not gonna mess with it. So you are switched positions. Yeah, it's okay. Not a problem. Charlie looks good on the left. Charlie looks good on the right. Charlie looks good in the middle. Charlie just looks good wherever the heck he's at. That's just Charlie. All right. So let me try and see if I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ahead and launch this meeting and see how it goes.
Okay, you have to be Charlie, and he has to be Milton.
Now I'm not
Okay,
sure if this is going to work because
well, let's try.
yeah, we are. Okay. Well, that's in there. Okay. So that's good. All right.
You know, tonight I don't know if you saw the news, but they interviewed a specialist from California, and I guess there was a study that showed regarding the booster, where they mix the mRNA with Johnson and Johnson now, and I guess it turned out safe, and so I guess they're gonna seek approval now because some people actually have been doing that. Yeah, taking the one
Yeah.
shot and then taking the Pfizer booster shot with no side effects. Everything's rocking and rolling. So,
Yeah.
you know, as you can see, we've had some brave people become sort of like the test case, and they benefited from it. So, but you know, again, it's maybe the person who did it has very strong genes, and you know, the question will be, what about someone who's elderly, right? If they
Hmm.
can go through the same regimen, and you know, so that's one of those things that happens, you know. But it was interesting. It was very very interesting. And to let all the folks who know up there, I'm so appreciative of all of your comments, and I'm glad to be back. No, I'm not Melra Pope. I'm Uncle Charlie. It's just that we switched places because due to a little technical difficulty, it's better to be on than not on at all. So it inadvertently switched the roles here or the view positions, and I'm on the. If you're looking at it, I'm on the left tonight, and Uncle Mel's on the right.
And it's all good, man.
Yep,
In a minute, once the talk story session. Oh, where did it go? Oh, looks like
they're
this
getting
meeting is
ready.
big. Okay.
That's true, Honey Charles. That Dr.
Okay.
Miskovich said back at the show back a couple months ago that you can mix and match, and he made a bold statement then, and I guess he's correct. He's correct. Yeah. So
All right. Okay. So they are getting started. They are getting started. So it's all good. All good. I don't know if that guy can hear me. Can you hear me, bro? Jacob?
yep,
Jake, can you hear me, Jacob?
yep, I
Okay.
can hear you.
No, I can see Jacob. I just want to make sure I'm muted on their meeting. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, we're gonna watch the Zoom meeting. Charlie and I will be right here with you guys. We'll be able to talk and chat and take your comments. Comments are still gonna go, and we're gonna listen to what they got to say. Um, Jacob,
That's that's the
I
snack
just
for
want to make sure
tonight.
so everything works. So Jacob Aki is running the show up there at the state capitol. Again, it's some state legislators, some county council members from Oahu, and a Department of Health. and we'll run with it. We'll see where it takes us. If it's okay, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, now we can't hear Jacob.
You cannot hear Jacob.
No.
Can
Is
you
it
hear it?
muted? You got to unmute on that end. On your screen, it shows that you're muted.
Cannot hear.
It's no on the screen. It says that it's muted.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
are
you.
muted.
Okay. So
Okay, so this ain't gonna work. Hang on. We can hear you crunching away though. Hang on, guys.
I'm just filling in the background so the sound.
Yeah, hang on.
You know, tonight I just could not get enough of that pickled garlic. Oh
Okay.
my god.
Sorry, Charlie. Um,
No, Grace, if Mel hits the unmute, what he will do is the legislature will hear me crunching away.
Go ahead, Charlie. Keep them occupied.
Hmm. Well, many of you may have seen the news today that
can help answer your questions, and it also helps inform our outreach and helps us better understand what community needs and what community concerns are. Because we have entered, I think, this phase of the pandemic where the community level and even one-on-one level conversations are going to be a lot more persuasive, right, to get the rest of our community protected and
Can
vaccinated
you
than
hear them,
media
Charlie?
campaigns
yes,
or
I can.
incentives are. And what that means is that it's important for everybody who has a platform to have the confidence to be a vaccine ambassador, to be able to answer those tricky questions. That's what I'd like to do tonight a little bit. But I do always like to start by sharing that most of what I'm going to share tonight and talk about
Can you
tonight
hear them,
is
Charlie?
available at the official Department of Health COVID website, which is hawaiicovid19.com. We have a ton of information there. Data dashboards, we have printable flyers, we have calendars, maps of testing and vaccination locations and disease activity, work and school guidance, a home care book if you test positive and you have to isolate or quarantine or your contact. We keep that updated. We have a lot of information. And most importantly, we translate all of our public facing guidance into 20 languages and make it really easy to find. We really want to make sure that people who prefer to get their healthcare information, their public health information in languages other than English are served by our outreach. So please check it out, hawaiicovid19.com. You can also subscribe at the bottom of the page for updates. So you don't have to keep checking back. We'll send you updates when we've added new documentation or changed anything. And of course, we are very active on social media, especially on Facebook and on Instagram, to help provide the latest updates. So if you were only listening to headlines and you weren't watching really closely what's happening, you might think that we are locked into this standoff between vaccinated people and unvaccinated people in Hawaii. But the truth is that we've been making really steady progress in protecting our communities and our families from COVID-19 since vaccines first became available way back in January. And as of this week, only about 9% of eligible Hawaii residents have not yet committed to starting the process of getting vaccinated. I think that's a really important number. I think sometimes we focus on that completed population, but when you look at it this way, so what this is folks who are are eligible, that's 12 and over, who have started, who have initiated, said, I want to get vaccinated. Almost everybody, right? We're over 90%. And I think that's really important. And even this week, right? This week, in the past week alone, over 5,000 people in Hawaii have made the decision to get vaccinated. And another 5,000 got their second doses. And what that tells me is, far from a standstill, there are still thousands of people out here who are unvaccinated, but still open to getting vaccinated. And whatever their reasons for waiting, or whatever their reasons for finally committing now, we have an opportunity, and in some cases, for me especially, an obligation to do whatever we can to help them make more informed and confident decisions about their own personal health care. And I know that there's a lot of confusing information out there, and sometimes it's deliberately confusing. I also know that a lot of people have good reasons not to trust the government or our healthcare systems. And you're here now, and I appreciate that. It means to me that either you're looking for more clarity for yourself, or you have a professional role that puts you in a position of credibility and authority with a community, and you want to be more thoughtful about how you use that, or you're a concerned coworker or family member or neighbor or congregant, and you just want to have a little bit more confidence and a little bit more information when you talk to folks who aren't fully on board with getting vaccinated. My goal is that whatever category you fall in, maybe you're more than one category, that you'll come out of the session a little bit more confident and have a little bit more information. So before COVID, most of us didn't think about pandemics very often at all, right? But to the people who did, thanks to those people that did, the experts who studied the ashes of past pandemics to look for clues, studied our frequent near misses, each time a pandemic emerges, we're a little bit better able to respond. We have slightly better tools. We have new strategies to curb the suffering that they bring. And that's really important when we talk about this kind of big picture, that neither vaccines nor pandemics are a novel thing in humankind. They've kind of been hunting us for the whole time, right? Even going back to the Bible, we know that viruses and pandemics have been a huge threat to humanity all along. But what are they, right? What is it actually doing? A virus is really just a piece of genetic code that replicates by entering and hijacking a host cell and using that cell's proteins to create copies of itself until that cell bursts, and those copies spread out in your system to make more cells to hijack more cells. So I think people worry sometimes about vaccines altering our DNA, but the reality is viruses are DNA tweaking monsters that turn our cells into little virus factories, right? I think it's really important because what that means is, since viruses use host cells to replicate, genetically, that means that every virus is part virus and part host. So every time a virus jumps from one person to another, it mutates and creates a new variant. And most of those mutations, most of those variants, they don't really change the way the virus behaves. It's just kind of like a new haircut. But every once in a while, you get a really significant variant, and that variant could be more contagious or more severe or more resistant to the defenses that we have against it, like vaccines and therapies. And when any of those things happen, the variant becomes a variant of interest. And then when it starts outcompeting other variants, we call it a variant of concern. And that's what we've been hearing a lot about with Delta, right? Is that it's a variant of concern. And the key reason is, one of the reasons that we don't talk about as much, for it's so important for everybody to get vaccinated, is that the more transmission occurs, the more likely it is the new variant of concern will emerge. There are a lot of reasons that it's important to spread the curb the spread of COVID, but that one, right, cutting the chance of it even more dangerous than Delta, is one I think maybe we don't talk about quite enough. Speaking of Delta variant, right? You probably heard the term when we talk about viruses and the way these things move, exponential growth, right? Viruses spread exponentially. And all we mean when we say that is that they don't spread from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 people. They spread a little bit more like this. So in the first case, this is going back to the January, February, March of last year, that original strain of COVID had a growth factor, a growth rate of about 3x. And what that means is that each person that got sick, on average, was going to get another 3 people sick. And that in and of itself was really concerning, because of course 3x means that those 3 people each get another 3 people sick. So in just a couple of generations of spread, you have 13 people sick from that one original person. And that's a really alarming rate. But the Delta variant, which is where we're at now, has a much faster spread rate. It has an 8x factor. And what that means is that each person that gets sick is likely to get another 8 or so people sick. And then each one of those people is going to get another 8 people sick, and so on. So it's not a small difference, right? It's the difference between 13 people in 2 generations of spread versus closer to 7 73, 74 people in in 2 generations of spread, and that's a big deal. Why is that? I've heard a lot of different explanations, but one of the ones that I really liked that helped me was someone said it's the difference between getting honey on your fingers and trying to get it off versus getting Gorilla Glue on your fingers and trying to get it off. That's how much stickier the Delta variant is than the variants that we saw before, and why, even though so much of the population is vaccinated, we saw such a horrible surge earlier this year. So, because pandemics have been so deadly to humankind over the centuries, vaccine science is actually one of the oldest and most widely studied branches of medicine. Scientists have known about vaccination to stop the spread of disease longer than we have known about, this is true, longer than we've known about hand washing before surgery. Right. So when we were still packing sawdust into surgical wounds and weren't even bothering washing our hands, we already knew that we could use vaccines to curb the spread of disease. It's really well established. It's really old, proven science. Probably heard the expression, ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Can
And
you
that's
slow
really what we're
down
talking
now?
about when we talk about vaccines. And they work in a really clever way. When our immune system meets that new virus, that novel threat that it's never seen before, it has to study it. It has to observe it to see how it acts and learn how to stop it from multiplying, create the tools. And then once it learns, it has to build up enough of those tools. And while it's learning, as we saw earlier, that virus is hijacking cells, blowing up cells, spreading out. So you've got kind of an arms race going on, right? Between that virus and your antibodies that your own body's creating to defend itself. Well, what if there was a way to speed that process up so that your body was prepared in the first place? And that's what a vaccine does, right? A vaccine is a tool that gives your body a head start at creating its own defenses so that when it meets that new virus, it's prepared. Vaccines don't stick around in our bodies and fight viruses like other medicines do, right? When we take an antibiotic, the antibiotic is actually in there doing the fighting for us. Vaccines don't work that way. Vaccines help us protect ourselves. They're more like teachers than they are soldiers. And that's an important distinction, because what it means is that if we wait until we're already sick to take a vaccine, it's not going to help us, because all it's able to do is get our defenses spun up quicker. And once we're already spinning up our defenses, it doesn't help at all. So vaccines work. We describe the way that vaccines work in 3 ways. They reduce the likelihood that you'll get infected if you get exposed to COVID-19. They reduce the likelihood.
Bro,
Okay,
was
okay.
this guy applying for a job interview with the Department of Health?
Hang on, hang on. I can hear him. I need to mute him here. I don't know how to do that. He
Well,
does
he's not.
not stop.
Yeah, he does not. He's not coming over now.
Yeah,
He's
no, he's coming in my earpiece. That's why.
okay.
Okay. All right. Anyway, um,
Yeah. So
I'm gonna wait until until they go to the legislators, because we've heard this was supposed to be a legislature thing, not a scientist or whatever he is, meth speaker. Yeah, he's going way too fast. I think he's wants to be the star of the show. He's with the Department of Health.
yeah, but
Yeah, no, he's not on our show. We what we try to do is live stream over their talk story session or town hall meeting. Apparently, it's not a town hall meeting. It's a C.J. Johnson Hall meeting. It's a meeting for himself. So anyway, when we get the legislators back on, I'll go ahead and I can actually hear him in my ear. So if it starts to be of anything of substance, I'll go ahead and reshare it. He's still talking, by the way. I can still hear him, Charlie. You look so angry, Charlie. You look upset.
no, it's just guys like that. First of all, he's not even on the front line when it comes to this whole time in 2 years. I seen Kimbo. I seen Libby Char. This guy was in the closet someplace, wringing out the mops.
I cannot turn him off in my ear. I don't know what the hell. I'm gonna have to just leave the meeting, I think. Normally on Zoom I can mute him, but this guy ain't shutting up.
Well,
Anyway, Charlie,
brother,
he's oh my god. I'm gonna have to leave his meeting. Sorry. I gotta leave his meeting. Okay, boom. He's done. I had to get rid of him because he was in my ear. He was coming across my computer, and and I cannot mute him. Anyway, yeah, he's gonna be in my head all night now. Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, it's not a town hall meeting, man. That it's he's been talking for 15 minutes nonstop without taking a breath. He gonna pass out pretty soon.
No,
He gonna
there's
pass
people like that. People like that.
out.
It's very easy to replicate someone like that. All you have to do is, hi, my name's Charlie. You know, for the most part, that you know what, that's we're going along right now. We're talking about COVID. I said, bruh, you can't even get one question in edgewise.
I dying for see his uh viewership. I think everybody that was on had take off. I bet everybody that was in had said, you know what? Right now, I'll get some good shows on TV. I mean, hello, Lord have mercy.
Brother, this is when you practice this, you go like that. Shut up.
I know, man. I really wanted to. Oh, he's killing me. That guy was too much. Anyway, that's a good segue, I guess, into it says it says right here, COVID-19 vaccine talk story. Donna Mercado Kim, Senator Clarence Nishihara, Senator Bennett Misalucha, Representative Sunny Ganaden, Representative Aaron Johansson, Representative Sam Kong, Representative Greg Takayama, Representative Roy Takumi, Councilmember Brandon Elefante, Councilmember Radiant Cordero, and the last speaker, officials from the Department of Health. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 politicians gonna have half an hour or less to talk. That gonna drive them nuts. They probably all left the meeting already. They probably all left the meeting.
Yeah.
I bet they did. I bet they did. I can't even find on Facebook Live. They just went to Zoom, which is a mistake, I think. But I guarantee you, there ain't too many people watching right now. I don't think it's drinking a lot of coffee. I think that fella had snorted some cocaine. False advertising. Yeah, Mila, you're right. I just anyway. So the big topic yesterday, Charlie, we talked about a lot of things, but one of the things, that I was talking about before this motor mouth had start was yesterday the headlines. COVID, I mean, flu influenza deaths far surpassed COVID in Hawaii for the last 12 months. Now, everybody, that was the talk of the town yesterday. I mean, I think I shared it. A lot of people commented. The anti-vaxxers, the people that don't believe COVID is real, got a little burst, right? They got a little burst because they're exactly what they've been saying. It's only the flu. It's only the flu. Well, thanks to Charles White, who did the investigation, the background. He went and checked the stats. That's not true. That's not true. And he posted. Anyway, long story short, Sarah Kimball. No, Sarah. What's her name? The epidemiologist. Is it Sarah Kimball?
Yep. Hmm.
The UH. I mean, the state epidemiologist
Yep. Dr.
came out
Kimball.
and said that that is not true. We have had one death in the last 12 months versus 600 and some odd deaths in the last 12 months
Was it
from
George White or Charles White? Who did the
George White. Did I
Yeah.
say Charles?
Yeah.
That guy had messed me up, Charlie. This guy, Motomao. I can't even think straight right now. Cartoon. What a cartoon. It's supposedly it's on the state senate. Anyway, I don't know if you saw that, Charlie, yesterday.
No. What I was somewhat I kind of said, well, I knew it was coming, but today's report said zero deaths, which I'm so glad there was no deaths reported, and only 49 reported cases, right? And one has to ask yourself, if there's a steady trend and all of it, I can see a decline happening in segments, right? You get a decline, the number goes down, down. This went from 100 something to 49. I can just
Yeah,
only imagine tomorrow that they're going "Broop," one.
yeah,
So it makes you very, very skeptical of how they're releasing the numbers. And like we've said it before, if you want to cut through the chase, and you want to end this thing, ladies and gentlemen, just put out a fictitious number and live with it. Yeah. If the administration wanted to just get rid of this thing, you don't need a vaccine to get rid of it. You just say a number that you want to say, and that's how it's done, plain and simple.
Hey, thank you for letting me know that it's on the state senate web page, Facebook page. It is, Charlie. You can you see it in the shaded area?
Shaded area.
You know how many people they get watching their Facebook page right now, watching that presentation? Three,
Hmm.
three, and we're one of them.
Wow.
So yeah, just so I can share some of the pain. Well, I muted his Okole, but he's still talking, guys. He is still talking, Charlie.
Wow.
He is still talking. That's and it's 7:22
Well, did
on.
somebody put out the hook and try hook him and
No,
shut him up?
no. He's still going. Like I said, they get three people watching, and we're one of them, so they get two others. So that's
Did
the
he
deal. That's the
did he
deal.
know he was supposed to share the spotlight with the others today?
I think they forgot to tell him that because right now he's talking about the adverse events. Adverse events of the vaccine is not the same or are not the same as side effects. He's still talking about that right now. I cannot believe it. Pretty soon they're going to hook him. I mean, really hook him. Charlie, the other thing we talked about yesterday, um, and I don't have the clip available, but we played the clip. It was a minute and a half with the visitor industry imploring, urging, basically directing the governor to open up, come out and tell the world that we're open because the visitor industry is hurting. I wanted to get your thoughts on that. We talked about it last night. I know I shared my frustration with that because the governor is going to make that announcement this week. He is going to make that announcement this week. And it's coming around the same time that the federal government is going to open up our land borders from international travel. So I am concerned, Charlie, and I just want to kind of pick your brain here, and our viewers as well. I mean, please comment. I want to see what you guys think. Do you think it's too early right now? We are coming off of a major surge. We have very minimal testing. The testing numbers have been reduced tremendously. So, of course, our case counts go down. We are in a better place than we were
Hmm.
a month ago. But do you think maybe we should wait a little while? Um, the mayor of Honolulu said he believes the marathon, by the time the marathon comes around, he'll be able to get his 25,000 people. He also said he believes that the second to the last and the last UH football game, he expects to fill the stadium with 9,000 people. Do you think it's a little too early to start talking about opening up to those types of events?
Well, first of all, I see that there's an individual that's on tonight that's getting people riled up. Um, I don't know who they're mentioning, but anyway, I guess it's Crystal, something about false info. So she's on tonight. But hey, like we said, everybody can talk, but talk is cheap, right?
I must have not seen her comment. Oh, right
Yeah.
here. People who don't want to get vaccinated don't think COVID. People who don't want to get vaccinated don't think COVID isn't real. You're being ridiculous. I never said that. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. I talked about the numbers, the flu and influenza numbers, far exceeding COVID 19 deaths. That's what I was talking about. There are people out there, whether you believe it or not, that think COVID is not real. It has nothing to do with whether they're vaccinated or not vaccinated. My point wasn't about that. My point was about the story that came out in a Star Advertiser yesterday that the flu and influenza deaths far outweighed or outnumbered the number of COVID deaths in the last 12 months. I've never said that unvaccinated people don't think COVID is real. I know a lot of unvaccinated people. I had two kids that were unvaccinated. They truly believed that COVID was real. They just thought that because they were young and that they were healthy, they would be able to shake it off. That absolutely never said that unvaccinated people
Hmm.
don't believe COVID is real. So I'm not being ridiculous. And if you think I'm ridiculous, there's many other shows you can go watch. You don't have to stay here. I try not to, Charlie. We usually just ignore it, but you know how to rile me up, buddy. Yeah, man.
Okay. No,
I
no.
give a
Let
speech.
me let me
You don't need to
let
call
me.
me ridiculous. Don't call me ridiculous
Okay.
because I'm speaking truth. That's all.
Let me say this to answer your question. It's proof is in the pudding. We went through an event where we lifted the restrictions, and then it just the dam burst, and everybody was scrambling, right? So there is a possibility that that can happen again, because for whatever reason, it was never said it was never said that, oh, if we were to have another outbreak, we have the means to stop it. We've always talked about that, right? They promote the vaccine. Okay, I'm vaccinated, and tomorrow I'll be getting my booster. But there's ways of controlling this thing. One of it is, not doing dangerous things, right? But as you know, humans will be humans, and those who just don't want to listen to rules will do what they want to do. So then, that's the danger. That's part of the existing elements out there that makes it so hard. So if the administration thinks that this thing is licked, that we will never see another case, we are sadly mistaken. And they talked about it tonight. While they're saying that they base everything on hospitalizations, right? There is still one hospital in the state, and it's a major hospital, Hilo General. Their ICUs are still full from COVID patients. Because why? The individual that was speaking said that most time when COVID patients come in, they stay for a lengthy period of time. Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that you cannot just look at one segment and think the rest is going to be okay. There are so many factors that will continually throw things into the mix, and that the cup will runneth over at one point. And I am not convinced, because the administration did not do a good job in sending out the troops to stop this virus. They couldn't even determine where it was. They were just hoping for the best. They were just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So,
We talked about that last night. That
yeah.
6 weeks ago, when we knew, and we've heard it from Dr. Dworkin, Dr. O'Carroll, Dr. Miskovich, Dr. Lee Altenberg. I mean, we knew 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, that Delta was here, and we knew the dangers of Delta. But yet we just kind of pretended. We, meaning our leadership, decision makers, kind of pretended that it didn't exist. That in fact we weren't going to be affected. I can remember the lieutenant governor being asked in the morning on one of his morning commercials. I mean, news channels. Um, that what did he think about Delta, and he said it had absolutely no concern of Delta. But he knew that everyone else was having major, major, major problems with Delta, because you see, Charlie, and this is going back to the first question I asked you.
Hmm.
Everything was done from day one to get Hawaii open for tourists. We know that it's not just the tourists bringing virus to our state. We know that it's also the returning residents, the travelers that are coming here. But we knew, and we still know till today, based on a Lancet study, that there is still a huge amount of visitors and travelers coming in with the virus undetected. We knew all of that. They chose not to believe it. They believed it. They just chose to ignore it. And because of that, we had much more virus coming in. We had much more spread. And yeah, we keep saying it's community spread, community spread, community spread. Blame the locals, blame the locals, blame the locals. At the end of the day, we knew that the source of the virus was travel. It was travelers coming in, whether they were visitors or returning residents. They were coming in with the virus and then spreading them out. So what's going to stop? Nothing's going to stop, right? We're still going to continue to bring in virus because of the travel, because of travel restrictions. Uh, once the governor goes out, once the governor goes out and makes that announcement that Hawaii is now open, that you don't need to get tested, that all you got to do is come in and be vaccinated. Watch what will happen. Watch what will happen, Charlie. Mark my word, mark the
Yeah,
date and time. 10
yeah.
12 2021, 7:32 p.m. on the Mel and Charlie show. You heard it.
Mhm.
Once he makes that announcement, travel is going to increase, case count's going to increase, deaths are going to increase because we're not ready for it. We're not ready. How's about the lieutenant governor telling everyone that we reached herd immunity 2 weeks ago? Um, Tim Brown countered that immediately and said that is
Mhm.
absolutely not true. Governor Ige said absolutely that's not true. But those
Yeah.
comments that come out of the lieutenant governor's mouth to make it appear that it's not as dangerous as it is what's causing the problem. And I'll say
Here's
it,
a
man. That's what's causing the problem.
here's another thing that kind of and I'm going to respond to Miss Crystal Gauna. I guess she's on. Now, I wanted to understand that, and again, we always say you make a comment, whatever it is, you just live with the responses. But we're not here to pick on anybody. But I'm not saying whether I'm right or wrong that it's a respiratory virus and you need to know how to treat it. Yes, but what I am saying is this administration, we've been beating the drums and we've been always erring on the side of caution. Okay, we said that from the start. I sure as hell haven't changed my position. What makes me even convinced more because I sit on the front line. I sit where somebody comes in at the airport with a 101 temp for no reason. Okay, as sick can be. Somehow that individual got on the plane. Yet we're looking at so much technical aspects. You if you had an Ebola outbreak and somebody was on the plane, right? Even one person had it. Tell me if you would let the other people bypass the lane and let them go out into the community. No, they would quarantine the whole damn plane. Not COVID. You can have one person on a plane and they're gonna say, well, the other people they don't show signs of they can go past. You just isolate this one person. It's stuff like that. I said, come on, let's be real about this. You know? And like you said it before, Mel, does only COVID come out certain time of the day when it wants to, you know, tag someone? And that's all I've been hearing. I've been hearing a lot of excuses from the administration that, oh, it only happens during this time, but it doesn't happen during this time. Yeah? It happens. If you take a test, you're good. When you land, you're not going to get COVID. But yet, Kauai was a prime example of when we closed our borders and said, hey, you got to test out 3 days after, right? Or taking a post test. Bingo, we were finding cases that supposedly was not supposed to be there according to the lieutenant governor, but it was there. And the frustrating thing is like through the entire time, we were fighting against ourselves. We were living through it. We were going through it. But here you have an administration personnel, like the lieutenant governor, far, far away from the island of Kauai, making these statements like, nah, psh, nah, hey, like we don't know what we're talking about. Then you come here and live through it. Those are the kind of things that I get upset at. And once you start those kind of false narratives and you take people down this yellow brick road and they fall into a deep hole and you give them no way of getting out, to me, that's unfair. And that's the reason why, Mel, you and I have been doing this for over a year.
Yeah.
And all we've been doing is bringing out the information, right? bringing out the information and just telling everybody, "Hey, you got to be safe," because we got some knuckleheads that making these kind of statements. I'm going to make sure that you want to believe me. Put it this way: if the administration was just to come out and says, "Hey, we just want you folks to be safe. I know some of you may not agree with us, but you need to be safe." You know, I could maybe buy into what they're saying, but they haven't even said that one time. So it shows me that there's no sense of sincerity in what they say.
Yeah.
They give
It,
me that sense of, hey, take it or leave it. That's all they're telling me.
yeah, and that's what they've done, right? And that's
Yeah.
what they've done. And we've said from day one that vaccinated or not vaccinated, that's your choice. And if you choose not to be vaccinated, you just need to be extra safe, and you need to protect others by using your masks and so forth. I will agree with Crystal on one thing. She said that you're right; it's not going to go away. It's a respiratory virus, and we need to know how to treat it. Absolutely.
Hmm.
We've had many doctors on the show that's been talking about, you know we need to accelerate the treatment medications and how we can treat this. So like the flu, like Tamiflu or Tanaflu, whatever it's called. And I think we
Tamiflu.
heard many
Tamiflu.
many doctors talking about that. And that's where we're gonna get, we're close, relatively speaking, we're close to finding those treatments.
Hmm.
And in fact, we have Regeneron, we have some monoclonal stuff that's already available. So why not wait until we have the protocols in place, the safety protocols, the medical protocols, so we can avoid unnecessary death and serious illness. That's all I've been saying. I think Charlie and I have been saying that for a very long time. Be safe. Don't rush. See, we rushed. We refused to accept the fact that Delta was here and was going to spread and was going to kill people. We failed. The state failed to take actions at the airports, at the hotels. They failed to come up with a pre-test and a post-test. They knew that would have stopped the numbers. They knew that would have stopped serious illness, and they knew that would have stopped death. But they chose to ignore it because, as we talked about last night, the special interests. No one can dispute that. No one. Yes, Merck is working on one. I'm sure there's a ton of companies right now. You
Hmm.
know, the big pharma, the companies that everyone hates, but we're all waiting for them to produce these new treatments that's going to help people when they get sick. And I'm not a fan of big pharma. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that it's kind of awkward that people say, "Oh, big pharma, blah 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 blah." The end of the day, it's those pharmaceutical companies that's going to create the antidotes or the remedies for this virus and many others. So we chose, the state chose not to do what we needed to do, and at the end of the day, we lost a lot of, almost 200 people in 1 month just to COVID.
Hmm.
So w- we just come off a major surge. We saw other places, other countries that moved quickly after a surge, only to find themselves right back in a lockdown because that's all this virus needs. This Delta variant only needs that little opportunity, that little window, and then it goes nuts again. So I don't know. I think we're moving a little too fast. I think
Yes.
the football stadium, the 1,000 people. I mean, I think you could probably do even more than 1,000 people safely. I think you could do a lot more. By the way, the guy is still talking. I have not seen one legislator in the screen yet. He- Hang on, I just want to share this real quick. Look, he's still talking. He is still talking. I have not seen one legislator come on the screen yet. Guy's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. So anyway, yeah, I think you could fit a lot of more people in there if it's safe, if they're in their safety bubbles, family bubbles, whatever you want to call it. Now, do I think extending the serving of alcohol another 2 hours in bars is smart? No, I don't. I don't think that's necessary. I don't. I think that's pretty crazy when we're coming off of an outbreak that we just had. I think it's kind of crazy,
You
but
know,
that's just
let, let
my
me
unscientific opinion.
let me give you a prime example of what control is. if they're saying, which they've said many times over, that an outdoor event is a hell of a lot safer than an indoor event, right? You can
Hmm.
compare that to a a gun store or like a shooting range, indoor shooting range. That's the only reason why you only have so much stalls that you can shoot downrange at a target. They don't put plenty people in there because if they did, you run the possibility of shooting each other. Common sense, right?
Hmm.
So the argument about the stadium, let's take that for instance at the UH games. If you had a large area and if somebody went there with a transit and plotted, if you were to space 6 feet apart, couples in the same bubble, and you just plot them using a transit, theoretically you can cover that whole stadium and the numbers will exceed 1,000,
Hmm.
right? That's
Hmm.
why sometimes, so somebody is asking, oh, so what's your point, Uncle Charlie? My point is this: if I really wanted to show that I had things under control, it's like how we do it at most of the major airports. There is a screening process that you have to go through. It's not for all show and no go. I can tell you this: we send a lot of people back. We send a lot of people back because if they don't want to comply with the rules coming into our state, then that's one of the freedoms that they have to enjoy by buying themselves a ticket to go back right then and there. And I always tell them, do it right, upload your results, and then you can come back and enjoy Kauai. But we're not here to babysit you. Think you're gonna come here and then tell us, you know what, I elect to go quarantine. Because you already broke the rule coming over. What makes you think you're gonna follow the quarantine rules? Come on. I wasn't born yesterday. Plus you're gonna take crucial manpower just to go babysit you when things are happening out there. I said, no, 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 no. If you cannot police yourselves, I sure as hell shouldn't be there policing you. So that's the point that I'm trying to make now.
Yeah, and as you make a very good point. And if in fact we had pre-testing mandates for everybody, you wouldn't have that problem, Charlie. You wouldn't have that person coming in and saying, "Nah, I never take the test. I'm going quarantine. I don't want a place to stay. But I'm not going. I'm just going to quarantine." Everybody needs to take a test. Everybody needs to take a test, and we know it's legal. I don't care what our attorney general says. The FDA clearly, I mean, the CDC clearly said states can have pre and post testing requirements, quarantine and stay at home requirements as well. We know that, but now I take a test. I'm fine. I'm asymptomatic. I take a test and I test positive, Charlie. Number one, you cannot show that test result to the airport. You cannot upload that into Safe Travels. You ain't gonna get on the plane. So you toss the little test, right? You just toss it, and you come and you say, "I'm gonna quarantine."
Mhm.
No check. Nobody knows. You come on that plane. You're positive. You just tested positive, but you toss the test because you tested positive, and you're not gonna toss away a three, four, $5,000 vacation.
Mhm.
I don't see a problem with that, and I don't see a problem with the visitor. If they want to come here, then they should be open to testing. So that's where I think we have missed the boat, our
Yeah.
state, because how many of those vaccinated people come through the line? They're not tested. How many of those we know, right? It's a lot more than what the state is saying that come they sneak through. They're asymptomatic carriers. They're not tested. They're not sick, but they are carriers. So I don't
Brother,
understand
it,
why. Oh, somebody's talking. What is that? What's going
yeah.
on here?
I don't
Hold
like
on.
Sim.
ingredients and everything, just a little bit more for your system to produce that immune response that we need.
I have a question.
Senator, go ahead.
Yeah. So, if you receive the third Moderna shot, right? Is it the equivalent of getting a booster, or is it just you got another shot of Moderna? That's all it is.
Moderna doesn't have a third shot.
So we distinguish between additional doses and booster doses. So the difference is, so booster doses in the general population, you get your initial vaccine course and you generate an immune response, and that immune response plateaus for a certain amount of time. We don't have a ton of confidence how long that is. We know that we're monitoring. Obviously, there have been people in clinical trials, tens and thousands of people were in clinical trials, but over a year ago. So we have some sense that it lasts at least a certain amount of time, and then we are seeing mostly age-related drop-off. And then again, this is one of those things where there's a lot of noise and a lot of confusion in some of the information, but we are seeing that it's consistent for at least this amount of time. Additional doses are a little different. Additional doses are for folks who are immune compromised, so either because they have immune disorders or they're on immune therapy of some sort, and they may have never developed a really, really robust immune response in the first place. The additional dose just helps kind of keep it churning along, keep it going. So those are Kat, help me out with this one. So we have been doing additional doses for Moderna.
Yeah, no, I've heard enough. The guy just spent 2.5 minutes saying nothing. Sorry, guys. I was just not gonna burden you guys with that. Um,
So anyway, I was gonna say, okay, that we've had instances, and let's go back a year ago when they kind of like relaxed the bars. They said that if you're gonna karaoke, right, you're gonna have to sing in one glass boot. But yet everybody in the bar can be yelling and singing along with you. It's just that just because you hold a microphone, that puts you in a timeout zone in the booth. You can sing karaoke without a microphone and stay out with everybody, all your friends, and be yelling, spreading all that opala in the air, right? You can do that. That's what I say about the enforcement process when there's no, I mean, if you have a smooth talker that says, hey, I want to do more weddings, I have this robust program that will keep everybody safe. Well, we've seen it time and time again that when everybody is having fun, there is really no enforcement taking place. End of story.
yes, sir. And I don't see that changing. I do not see that changing. I think they are just rolling the dice. I think Mayor Blangiardi, based on his comments today, he's just rolling the dice and hoping that we don't get another surge. I don't know why they think Hawaii is going to be different than any other place we've been. I think the governor finally succumbed to the pressure of Mufi and all the hotel people. I think he just said enough. I'm not going to get beaten up anymore. I mean, Lieutenant Governor, he was always ready to open up. Remember when he was there trying to get the governor to open up months ago? He didn't think it was an issue. That was before the last surge. So I think they just are okay. They're totally okay with rolling the dice, and if people get sick and die, well, that's just it's our fault. It was our fault, not their fault, because they're such a reactive type of leadership that they're showing that we wait for something to happen, and then we just deal with the results, live with the results. I don't get it, because again, Charlie, the changes that need to be made to make us safe isn't going to impact the economy that much, in my opinion. If you require testing is the key. Testing is the key. You don't need to lock down. You don't need to barricade people in their homes. No, we just gotta test, and test. We gotta test our students. We gotta test our travelers. We gotta test everybody. So when we know someone is positive, we can isolate the virus, prevent the spread in the community, so we can keep our numbers down. How freaking hard is that to understand? That is what needs to be done. Not all this convoluted shit. Charlie, what is restricting the football game to only water going to do as it relates to COVID? Does drinking diet soda or Coke or Pepsi or orange juice, does that make you more at risk for catching COVID? No, it's just, Charlie, it's just flexing their muscles. We doing it because I said we can, because I can, and that's what's going to be. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your stupid complaints. You want to open a stadium? Sure, 1,000 people. You can only drink water. Done. Because there's no reason why you wouldn't allow people to be able to drink non-alcoholic. I agree with the no alcohol, but Lord have mercy. You went to a football game at night. You know what I want to drink, Charlie. I want to drink coffee. I want to drink coffee. But no, water.
A lot of
Wa-
times you have to wonder, and I'm sure there's an explanation. We may not agree with it, but it's like again saying that in an event outdoors you can have no more than 150 people at the event, right?
Mhm.
Outdoors. And yet we're allowing indoor events where you can have up to 500 people, like in a concert setting,
Mhm.
and it's indoor. That means that that indoor space is confined, right? Until such time you break the plane to relieve yourself from that indoor space. Up until that point, it's like I can have $100 in pennies, right, in a bag, and I can show the clerk at the store I have 100 pennies, $100 worth in pennies. It doesn't mean diddly squat until such time you take it out of the bag so she can count it so she can put it in a cash register. Other than that, she's just looking at a big bag that's used for conk somebody on the head. That's all she's doing. And these are some of the presentations that we're getting from this administration. I call this, if you think about it, it's like uh, it's like a creative vaccine. You actually don't have the vaccine, but if you have somebody creative enough to do the spin and do the story, and you get just enough people based on percentages to buy into that story without having to take one shot, you've just accomplished what some states takes needs to do to get people vaccinated by giving them a physical shot. We're doing it without even giving people a shot, just by the stories we tell.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's so true, man. I don't know where this road is going to lead us, Charlie. I kind of know. I kind of see what's happening. I think that the testing is reduced. It creates a lower number of cases to justify them opening up everything, because it's gonna happen. And then what's gonna happen when cases start climbing again? And I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But history has shown us, right, that once you start opening up, and we cannot stay closed forever. We really cannot stay closed forever. So if you want to open up, then mandate more testing. That's the only thing you really got to mandate. You don't got to mandate anything else except testing, especially in our schools where 25% of our cases are kids.
You
And
have
and,
control
and
measures. That's what
that's
you
it.
do.
Just there is a way to do it. And but again, they're not willing to have to go tell HTA, HLTA, all of these other people, um, that they're going to require testing, because it's going to hurt the economy, hurt the industry. Go tell that my friend who I talked about, he was COVID, Honolulu, city of County Honolulu bus driver. He posted today. He's still in the hospital. They just removed his trach tube. Go tell that to him and his family, that we had to open up because the industry was hurting. Go tell that to the family of, tell that to Charlie who lost his brother. Go tell that to the families of all of these people that died unnecessarily. That we had to, sorry, we mourn the loss of your loved one, but it was really more important for us to open up the industry. Go tell them that, because that's what you did. That's really what you did,
Mhm.
and it's so sad when we heard the pleas of the doctors and more so the nurses, the heroes. What did they say, Charlie? They will forever be, their brains will forever uh, have these visions of unnecessary death. These patients that came in that should not have been there. Yeah, most of them because they weren't vaccinated. But if we had controlled the source of the virus as a state, they may not have been infected. So yeah, go tell that to the families that,
You
sorry,
know,
there's
let,
collateral damage because we got to really keep our industry up and flying.
let me say this much. This all goes down to we as humans, whether we can follow directions or not. That's the only way anything's going to succeed. And I'll give you a prime example. When the volcano is erupting, right, and they open it up for the tourists as well as the locals, there are warning signs way before you get to the summit to go look at that molten lava down below. One of the signs says that if you have any type of breathing problems, respiratory problems, they post these signs way before you reach that location because they know the dangers. They tell you, do not go beyond this point if you have respiratory illness because of that sulfur, right? Coming
Mhm.
from the volcano. Yet people, because they're feeling good at that point, says, I know I get COPD, but I'm gonna push it. And by the time they go all the way up there, next thing you know, they're suffocating. So what happens now? You got to activate 911. Everybody got to step on the side because we want to get emergency personnel up there. Just because you want it to be selfish and you want it to be a dum dum because you know you suffer from COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, right? And the science says do not go beyond this point, but you want it because you just had to see the lava. And next thing you know, you put everybody else in danger because now emergency personnel got to go up there and get you. That's what I'm talking about when you have all these kind of events. If people can follow the rules, like walking along a cliff, and they said, "Hey, single file." That's why we have these barricade ropes. Do not go on the other side, or you're gonna fall over. It herds everybody into a certain direction, so everybody stays safe. Now try remove those ropes, and you watch how many people fall over the cliff. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. It's incumbent
Yeah,
upon us. We can, and you've said this many times before, Mel, we can get over this hurdle, this hump of battling COVID if we just follow the rules, sacrifice a little, and stay within our lane. But no, everybody went buckle loose and went for it, and the thing got worse. So what alternative was there left? That is, okay, guys, no, like listen, suffer. Boom. Everybody peace off, right? And it
hmm
started all over again. So this goes back to your initial question. What did I think? If we're not careful and this thing climbs on us again, you can be rest assured that the HTA, the HLTA, whatever, whatever acronym you want to call it, they're going to suffer again. Because I can tell you right now, hotels want money. They got jobs for the employees. But there's sacrifices that need to be made too, like enforcement in the hotels. A lot of these hotels employees are, hey, I'm a union member, I'm a front desk clerk, I'm not security. Okay, you're not security, but you got to do your part. You got to remind people, excuse me, you're at the front desk, please put on your mask. Thank you. What's so hard about doing that? No, they're too lazy. They step back, get on the phone. Can you send security up here? We got some people checking in. They don't want to wear the mask. Gee whiz, come on.
And Charlie, what about those hotels? And we saw this in several hotels, union hotels at that. The industry cried to the governor and to the lieutenant governor and to the state saying, we got to open up, you got to ease restrictions because we got to get our people back to work, right? They made it seem like they wanted to open up so they could bring back people from work, to work. And
Mm.
what did they do, Charlie? We know this for a fact because we both have
Yep.
friends that okay, so they came back, they got up to 90, 95, 98% occupancy, but they reduced the services to the guests. So they didn't have to bring back the employees.
Hmm.
They didn't have to, and they didn't. They cut all the housekeeping. No longer were you getting automatic housekeeping. You had to request. There was extra charges for different services that normally came with the room rate. So they didn't have to bring back. So the goal wasn't to bring back employees, Charlie. You hit it on the head. It's about the money.
Hmm.
Bringing as much money. When you're at 100%, you need all those employees back. You need more employees back. And we saw that. We saw the hotel union guy on TV. We saw them picketing. Bring us back to work. You said you were going to bring us back to work. So yeah, it works both ways, and these guys got to understand that you want the business to bring people back to work. Then when you get the business, you better bring people back to work. Don't be hypocrites. And that to me was, I will never forget that. As long as I live, I will never forget uh, that disingenuous actions by those hotels that decided to cut costs, double up on work, on like on rooms in a more rooms to clean per housekeeper because they didn't want to bring people back to work. It was cheaper to keep them out on unemployment. Unemployment run out, it's over. And that to me, that's not porno, and that's pilau, and that's what happened. That's what happened. So
Yep.
anyway,
Well, there's one thing that someone had asked me. He goes, "Hey, Uncle Charlie, you know, Mel, how much I love music. You know how much I used to love performing. And every time we played, we wasn't the run of the mill band. We played Hawaiian music, we played jazz, we played everything, but we engaged with the crowd. We had a lot of fun because that's who we were. We were like one comedy band, put it that way, right? And so the question was asked, Uncle Charlie, when you go back play music? Because in my heart, I know people with a few drinks under their breath, and they don't mean it, but they get loosened up. They like come hug you, like come on the stage. They ask you for a request. They're gonna come out and hey bro, you can play this. And they slobbering all over the place, you know. And I don't like ruin their action by telling them, bro, put on your mask, right? So what did I elect to do after a year? I have not gone back and played music. I invested a lot. I bought the best of the best you can buy in sound portable sound systems, the Bose, right? I get several $1,000 worth of systems just sitting in my room. It's just I don't want to go back. My wife even was upset because uh, I purchased a bass that's too expensive. Put it that way. I mean, it's over 5 grand, and I haven't played it. It's just because I know my limits. I'm an open heart. I'm a I had open heart surgery. I just won't take a chance. But I'm responsible enough to know that. And so that's why I tell people straight up, I'm sorry. They even say, "Oh, uncle, we pay you this much. We just let you go play 1 hour for my family's get together." And I gotta respectfully tell them that I cannot. It's because I just right now I just don't feel safe. When I know it's safe, then I'll go back. But until then, I just not gonna take that chance. Not that I want to be selfish about it, but as I get on in years in life, there's only me and the missus, and I don't want to bring any viruses home too. And that's just me. So that's why when I say something, I'm not gonna try to drag everybody in to be the same as me. No way. I'm just gonna say that's where I'm coming from.
And it goes back to what you were saying. If everybody was responsible, we see the pictures on Facebook, Instagram, all of those, about our friends, our family out and about, partying, dancing, hula, dancing, disco, dancing, at parties under the garages or in tents,
Hmm.
and all no more mask. I mean, we understand. People tired of. I'm tired too. But until we all can be safe and do the right thing, it's
Hmm.
and again, like I said, we're not far from getting those treatment medications approved, and but until then, we got to really be smart, because I tell you, man, you don't want to lose a friend or a loved one to this ridiculous disease. You just cannot. You don't want it. So
Hmm.
anyway, Charles, it is a little after 8. Again, appreciate you coming on tonight.
I miss you. I love you, my
And,
brother.
and,
And
and wait, yeah, closing thoughts, man. I want to hear your closing thoughts, bro.
well, first of all, I would like to sincerely apologize to everyone out there that you kind of saw a different side of Uncle Charlie. I was more like, maybe because I'm on this side of the screen, I felt more like Uncle Mel. I mean,
Yeah,
and Uncle Mel was kind of subdued tonight, so maybe Uncle Mel is actually Uncle Charlie. But and I want to just apologize to you. You folks know me enough to know that if I'm gonna rant and rave, got to be something that's really tugging at me. And the thing is, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this COVID. I want it gone. But as long as someone out there gives it a little life, it will never be gone. And I don't know how to express it in. It's going to take, we're almost there, but it's just going to take a little bit more effort. And we all got to do this thing together to lessen the load for each and every one of us. But I want to thank you all just for sticking by our side and just coming on. And, you just will never, ever imagine how great it is to see the comments, because in a lot of these comments, it may be repetitive, but there are a lot of messages that's so true. And it's a comment is like the spoken word, even though it's in writing or it's typed out. I'm sure that they will be able, those out there who will read that later on, they'll learn a lot. And yes, if I could play, believe it or not, this it's like riding a bike. You may lose a little balance here and there, but if you ride it for a little while, you'll get your balance back. And playing music is the same thing. And I haven't touched the. I would love to play for you folks. So one day when I get to that point, I will do a little song for you at the end of the show when that day comes. It won't be too far down the road. Just maybe within the next 5 years. It will, no, it will come soon, and I'll play a little aloha song for all of you. Wishing you folks a safe night, sleep tight, have sweet dreams, but most of all, love the one you're with, and think of your ohana, because I know a lot of you have ohana that's not here in Hawaii, but they're elsewhere. Just think of them, pray for them, make sure they keep them in your thoughts always. Okay, turn it back to you, brother Mel.
yeah. I rarely do this where I put the whole screen on me, but I needed to show you guys something. And it's Charlie. If you haven't seen Charlie perform, amazing, amazing. They put on an amazing show, and we all know that we are going to hear him very shortly. Very shortly, we're gonna have the COVID Kauai free concert on Kauai, and of course, Charlie will be playing music for all of us. So please hang tight. This is the light at the end of our tunnel, guys. Just keep that in mind. So it's gonna happen sooner than later. So thank you all, thank you all, thank you all. Sorry about the little screw up this morning. I guess I misunderstood. The legislators may have sponsored that thing. I don't know. I took it as a talk story where and we did see a little bit, but that guy was too much. So I apologize for that. Charlie, thanks for showing up tonight and filling up the hour. Tomorrow night, folks, Vicky Cayetano, former First Lady, former business executive, and candidate for governor. We're gonna have her on as our guest. She's gonna share her story, and I'm gonna ask him some tough questions, guys. I'm gonna ask him some tough questions. If you were the governor, what would you do about this? And it'll be fun, and hopefully we can get some information
Yeah,
and some ideas and thoughts. So tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Make sure you let everybody know. We're trying to get a big crowd on tomorrow night. We will bring on other candidates for governor if they choose to, and almost all of them anyway. So with that, folks, you guys stay
hey,
safe. God bless. Love you guys.
brother, one of our good friends, your good friend, just made his announcement today.
Oh,
The
for
one,
lieutenant governor.
the only Ikaika Anderson.
Yeah,
Yes,
Ikaika Anderson. I hear Sherry Manor McNamara, Honolulu Chamber of Commerce executive director or president or
Ju-
whatever. She's been on our show. Um, she's gonna looks like she's gonna make a run for lieutenant governor.
yes,
Charlie Iona is gonna make a run for lieutenant governor. I think,
bruh.
yeah,
Quit spreading rumors. Quit spreading rumors.
it'll be fun. But we're gonna try to get as much information out to you folks, the voters, before election time. Um, yes, everybody's flying to Kauai for that concert. We're gonna have a blast. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be wonderful to get to meet you guys face to face. We love you guys so much. We appreciate you guys so much. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, guys, please join us. Stay safe. God bless you guys. Take care and like Charlie said, love each other, man. Love each other. Love goes a long ways. All right, guys.